Hello and welcome to Wake and Shake. Myself, BBD, as we are talking. We're still in the sports apocalypse. Baseball world is rolling. The NFL draft took over this weekend. My goodness, 700,000 people in Detroit. I don't even know if there are that many people in Detroit. NBA playoffs. BBD's Jalen Brunson turned some heads. Hockey is rolling. We'll talk about all of it a little bit. We will start out with baseball, because that's why most of you are here. And fun weekend, like every weekend, you get some sweeps and some different things around the league. Whoa, just went to go on the Talkin Baseball sheet. Already cleared. Already out. Whoa. Dalton has moved on to next week.
It's Jover.
I want to talk some Easts, AL and NL, because honestly, we've been talking a lot of Centrals. Guard Dogs got off to a hot start, and the other teams look solid. The Twins have saved their season by winning 7 straight. Good on them. As you guys know, I was on a big, how deep of a hole did you dig? It's time to hit the panic button. They did. They won 7 straight. AL West, I don't feel like I can speak confidently about yet. I gave the Mariners a lot of love on Talkin Baseball for their pitching. I did end it with, I want to see this next week because they are hosting the Braves, we'll talk about in a second, and then their road trip at Houston at Minnesota. So, yes, the Mariners are 15-13 and on top of the division, and they're pitching lights out, 16 straight starts of 2 runs or less with the best bullpen ERA and WHIP. That's a really strong formula. I want to see their next week and a half. They have survived. Their offense hasn't gone at all. Again, at this point of the season, you could spin that as a good thing or a bad thing because I do think they have some good ball players that are going to go through, but they're a bad week and a half from being under 500 again. So, Texas kind of feels like Texas, although they haven't gotten rolling. The whole West, I don't know. I can't start really planting flags in the sand. In the AL East, our Yankees are rolling. How about that? They faced Milwaukee, and we went from pure panic on Friday night. If you don't know, the Yankees, they were heading towards extra innings. Their bullpen was thin. Clay Holmes looked great in a 10-pitch outing. And it was like, okay, well, we're going extra innings. Clay's probably got a couple more bullets in there. They did not. They went to Michael Tonkin, who just joined the team, cut from the Mets twice. And isn't there another team, too? Did he go to the Twins for a couple games?
Twins for a game, back to the Mets.
So Mets, Twins, Mets for Michael Tonkin this year. Well, by the way, hey, shout out to Michael Talkin, a guy that played baseball with Trev. It seemed like he was on the way out. He went to Japan, went to Mexico in the independent leagues, ended up throwing a ton of games, 80 innings for the Atlanta Braves, the 2023 Atlanta Braves, in 45 appearances. So all this talk about pitching and multiple innings and, saving bullpens. Guys like Michael Tonkin, if you can get that kind of performance out of them and get a couple innings out of them, that's kind of the future of bullpens. Anyways, big guy, throwing some funk up there. But he is 34. He's never been the highest leverage of reliever. And the Yankees, they put him out in extras trying to save the game. Literally, hadn't met Jose Trevino yet. Definitely hadn't thrown to him. First pitch off the glove, so runner goes from second to third, and then he gives up a hit. He ends up getting out of that inning, comes back out for the second. Yankees lose that game. There's a couple other arms in their bullpen ready to go, and they did not go to him, and it was kind of like, what are we doing here? This is some weird Yankees, let's win a game today, and the defense was that Clay Holmes has been pitching a lot. Boone reference appearances, which, he did make an appearance in that game. It was whatever. It left Yankee fans very uncomfortable. What did the Yankees go out and do the next 2 days? They scored 15 runs. And to score 15 runs, that means everyone in the offense has to go. Volpe clicked back into gear. Soto's been one of the best hitters in baseball. Aaron Judge had not been great. He kicks into gear. Rizzo had not been great. He's been going nuts. 4 homers in 6 games. Verdugo, fantastic. Gleyber Torres looks like he's finding his way out of a slump. And on the other side of that, they got really good starts from Carlos Rodon, who's now put together a full first month. My long-winded Yankee talk, as the Yankees are about to play Baltimore for 4 games. We'll be at one of them. Exciting. Wednesday. If you're in Baltimore, come pants Kevin. You'll know which one he is. The look on his face. I have really good news for Yankee fans.
Oh.
The Yankees are going to be good this year. They already are. The Yankees had one of their worst years in franchise history, and they won 82 games last year. Is that the number?
Yep.
The Yankees look good this year. Their starting pitching ERA, 4th.
Nice.
Their relief pitching ERA, 4th. That's pretty good. On-base percentage, 3rd. OPS, 5th. Run, 6th. So you could make an argument that the Yankees have top 5 pitching, top 5 hitting. That's pretty good. The Yankees are good. They added Juan Soto. This is some obnoxious Yankee stuff, and I knock some wood and try not to jinx things, but this Yankee season can only get so much off track. Fangraphs has them as 89% to make the playoffs. I'll be honest, with expanded wild card, it feels a little low. The Yankees have a good ball club. I think they're going to win a chunk of games this year. You know how I feel about the Baltimore Orioles. Currently a game back of them. They're 17-10. They did lose a series to Oakland this weekend. It also could have been 3 wins if Craig Kimbrell was a little more locked down. I'm an Orioles guy. I think they're going to... I still have them as the favorite over the Yankees to win the division. I just think they're built a little better for the regular season. We'll see on that. I'm open to being wrong, but it's hard for me to envision a world where the Baltimore Orioles and the New York Yankees don't make the playoffs. And I think that might sound obvious to you, but I don't know. That's not how baseball works. Like, talk to Houston fans right now. Talk to Cardinals fans from last year. The rest of the AL East, the Boston Red Sox have been playing a decent brand of baseball. They took down the Cubbies, who've been playing really well this year, off to one of their better starts in, team history. You kind of forget how bad of a franchise the Cubs, were for a while.
It's just, historically.
Historically very bad.
It isn't, the 108 years of that winning one, they were awful in the time between. Very few competitive rosters.
Curse of the Billy Goat. Look that one up. The Red Sox are 16-13. They're playing decent ball. They're still pitching Tanner Houck. I mean, you want to talk things that can change a season outlook. They're still first in starting pitching ERA. It's almost May. Top 10 in runs, top 10 in bullpen ERA, 10th in both. But the fact is, the Red Sox are getting some pitching, and the statement was always, will the Red Sox get some pitching? They are. What does it mean? I don't know. Fangraphs has them as 30% to make the playoffs. That's not bad. I think Red Sox fans would have taken that a month in. This is where things get interesting. The Blue Jays are 14-15. They just dropped 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. A lot of teams are going to do that. Dalton Varsho having a nice year for them. He's kind of a swing piece for them. Outside of him and Justin Turner, no one's kind of going off. And again, we're still at a point in the season where you could spin that either way. If Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero put up, 1 OPSs in May, which they could, they both have the talent to. Again, you could spin that as an optimistic thing. Right now, they don't have something to hang their hat on. Team OPS 23rd. That's not good. Starting pitcher ERA 16, middle of the pack. Kevin Gossman has kind of kicked back into gear. That's massive for them. At the same time, Bassett's been knocked around a little bit. I still like their starting pitching, and I think their bullpen can put it together. But so far this year, bullpen ERA 23rd, WHIP 19th. So they need something to go for them. And then with both of those teams I just mentioned, think about, can you picture the Blue Jays having a better regular season than the Orioles?
Not from here.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's baseball. I get it. I'm one of the most baseball-y, optimistic people. If something clicks or injuries happen, it's baseball. It's part of the beauty in it for me. For the Blue Jays to have a better year of the Orioles or Yankees, something would have to go crazy wrong, I think, for the other teams, which maybe that does happen. You can kind of say the same for the Red Sox. Maybe they got something in the water this year. I've seen that franchise turn it on. I don't know. Again, the Orioles are built for like a mini dynasty. The Yankees have put a lot of chips on the table for this year, and things are currently paying off. So that's how we feel. And that's before you get to the Tampa Bay Rays. And the Rays, before this season, we did their team profile and projection, and one of my thoughts was, I can't even picture the Rays having a bad year. Like, what does that look like in Tampa? Their over-under coming into the season was 84.5. In a full season, they haven't had less than that since 2017. This version of the Rays, full seasons, 90 wins, 96, 100, 86, 99. The Rays seem like they kind of figured out a code for baseball. We can tap into almost any pitcher, and we're going to play these position players to their strength, whether they're platoon, whether they're just great defensively, and we're going to squeeze the most out of them. They're currently 13-16. The player leading the Rays in WAR is Ben Rortvedt. Might have to get our socials team on that one.
Having a year.
Yankee legend. The Tampa Bay Rays. And again, is your glass half full or is your glass half empty? Because they are basically a bottom 10 offensive team. 22nd in OPS, 19th in runs. Okay. Starting pitching, right in the middle. 15th in ERA, 16th in WHIP, sure. It actually, for all the injuries they still have to starting pitching, Eflin, Savali, Littell, Pepio, Tyler Alexander now jumps in the rotation. That's, for what the Rays are normally tapping into, that's not bad. Their bullpen has been buns. 27th in ERA, 25th in WHIP. So, the Red Sox currently having a surge or, potential for a fun summer at least. Competitive. They're a competitive team. The Blue Jays, let's find out. There's a ton of talent on that roster. It's tough to picture them being like worse than 500. The Tampa Bay Rays, they need their bullpen to go. They need Randy and Yandy to go. Their season stats. Give you some ugly numbers here. Yandy Diaz, who won the batting title last year. 232, 293, a 596 OPS. Yipes. Randy Arozarena, the best to ever do it. 152, 226, 483. The announcers were saying he got too beefy this offseason. We've seen that affect players. I don't think it should affect Randy Arozarena this much. Like I said, their best offensive players so far have been Richie Palacios and Ben Rortvedt. So you could spin this a lot of ways with the Rays, right? Like this could be, hey, Randy and Yandy are going to go. Curtis Mead, who's a top prospect for them, he's been awful. Like, does his light bulb come on? Are they going to get Lau or Lowe back? And usually the Rays can tap into bullpen, and right now they're just not. So maybe that's coming. Jason Adam is having a good year. If someone else clicks behind him, that can help a bullpen fall into place quickly. They've laid out a tough road for themselves. They've laid out a really tough road for themselves that I wonder if calling up Junior Caminero is on the table. I dreamt this on Talkin Baseball. Right now, playoff percentages. The Boston Red Sox are currently the low man at 30%, which, again, I would have said Red Sox fans would have been very interested in. The Blue Jays and the Rays are both at 38%. So I don't know, this Rays team that we do a lot of, again, Rays going Rays, they're going to get us. They haven't been doing that this year. And ever since their April from last year, they haven't been as dominant. So with the AL East kind of stacked, the Yankees look really good. The Orioles look really good. The Sox, these other 4 AL teams kind of needed the Sox to be bad, and they are not. Sox are good. Sox are solid. Sox. If you're the Blue Jays, who we talked about them with Foolish Baseball, who I believe will be here next episode, he threw out last year, this could be the downfall of the Jays. I'm not ready to go there. They're a week away from feeling good about their team. The Rays. I'm never going to count the Rays out. I mean, not to the credit of Houston, but in a regular season, we've seen the Rays go. I'm just saying, what does that even mean? Are these teams going to be fighting for third place? Am I being a New York Yankees drama queen because I'm too excited about this team? Maybe. I think they look really good. I think the Orioles are nasty. That in the AL East, that bottom part, you're going to have a really disappointed franchise. Unless the Sox really fall off, because this year wasn't supposed to be the year. But even then, I'm talking about 4 AL East teams trying to make the playoffs when the AL Central is pretty good this year. Some good teams in the standings. You know there's going to be 2 good teams in the West, however that sorts out. I don't know. That bottom of the AL East is getting pretty funky. And it is one of those times that I do miss when there is a little more division play. It really doesn't feel like you play your division a lot anymore. I was and am a balanced schedule guy. I still want to find a way to play the division more because the series feel too spread out, man.
Yeah. Yankees have made a move.
Yankees transaction?
Alex Verdugo placed on the paternity list, so congratulations,
Okay.
Alex.
Snaps.
And Carlos Narvaez, called from AAA.
Take that, Ben Rortvet. Wow, the perfect replacement.
Right. Well, now Taylor Trammell makes sense.
How about that? Damn. Hey, happy for Alex Verdugo, obviously. He just got really hot for the Yanks. So, yeah, I guess Trent Grisham, Taylor Trammell.
Oh, right. Grisham might get to play.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Would have liked to have him for a big Orioles series coming up. I'm excited to see those 2 teams face off. Orioles should be pretty feisty after they just got the business from the A's a little bit. And the Yanks look good. So interested to see them get tested. The other thing is East Coast bias. Jake is here. Did this on Talkin Baseball. It's just a reminder. The Braves are disgusting. 19-7. They the worst 3 hitters in their lineup have been Austin Riley, Matt Olson, and Ronald Acuna Jr. So that's insane. That's insane, but it just goes to show you how good the rest of the team has been. Darno, as the backup catcher, has been killing it. Marcell Ozuna, man, I've been trying to find the right way to say this because you don't want to come off wrong because Ozuna's like bad guy, right? Like he's on the list.
A couple instances of
There's
bad
the DUI, which do what you want with that. And then there was There's an assault.
Yeah,
which I do think
I don't know
came
full
out
details
wasn't.
about.
Yeah, I think
It wasn't the original story. I don't know.
Right.
Not for us, but
the fact there's that whole body of evidence, nobody really wants Ozuna from the Braves anymore, or at least being a fan, unless you're in Atlanta. I wish that wasn't, because he is becoming the thick DH just so beautifully. 31 RBI. He has been crazy. Ozzie Albies is back for them off the IL. Yeah, it was just one of those crazy realizations this morning that the Braves are off to this start. Their 3 scariest guys in their lineup have not gone yet. And they do have a fun little West Coast trip. They're going in to face that Seattle Mariners pitching staff that has been electric. And then they face the Dodgers. So, fun West Coast trip for the Braves. If you are a betting person, if you want to pair up the Braves and Dodgers to win the division, I think it lands at like minus 230, which isn't great odds. But if you can find that with another bet you like, you could win some queso there. So, little Jakey insider there. But, yeah, coming into this morning, I was excited to hype the Phillies because I was like, damn, they swept the Padres. They might be coming for the Braves' ass this year. When I looked at the stats, it's like, okay, so Bohm is going nuts. The Phillies pitching is going nuts. For the Braves, I mean, they are getting a lot of great performances, but the 3 guys you might expect, they haven't even gone yet. So just reminder of how much of a wagon the Braves are and how messy the American League East is going to get this year. That was a little bit of the baseball. This weekend was awesome for sports. I even found myself late night. What was I watching? Edmonton? I don't know. I think Edmonton and the Kings were playing late last night. Good game. 1-0. Let's do a little NFL draft because this was a historic one. There was the 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 12 picks. Caleb Williams, Jalen Daniels, Drake Maye. They all go kind of chalk, chalk, chalk. The fun game you want to play with this, my guy Rosillo, it's one of his favorite games to play, is that first-round quarterbacks hit at a less than 50% clip. And that's giving some guys liberty on the hit rate. So, if you're a Caleb, Jaden, Drake Maye guy, that would basically mean that you're going to say Michael Penix Jr., J.J. McCarthy, and Bo Nix are going to be bad. And honestly, it's probably only going to be 2 out of this class are good. So with Caleb Williams being kind of a can't-miss quarterback, and I've told you guys, I'm not selling my stock, but I wouldn't be loading up on Caleb Williams. I'm ready to be completely wrong on this. I was talking to Justin Pennick and Bobby Skinner as they did a ton of NFL draft stuff this weekend. If you haven't checked out JM Football or even Talkin Giants, because they were locked into the draft this weekend, I want Caleb Williams to become my favorite athlete ever. What'd Justin Pennick say? He said there's a chance that Caleb Williams is a bad bitch. Like, he just owns this whole thing. Like, he comes in, he's basically Mahomes 2.0. He's a Gen Z stud. He's the first, good Chicago Bears quarterback ever. And he's just that guy. He'll cry after a game. He'll whoop your ass. He could become... Think about this. Caleb Williams could become, the most beloved athlete in the United States. Or Mahomes-esque. Mahomes is doing all this in Kansas City. Caleb Williams, if he's that guy, which pretty much every smart football person thinks he is going to be a star of stars. I'm holding back a little bit. And I told you guys this, and it's a little bit lame, and it's more so just playing the percentages of quarterback. That I don't know. I want to see how it looks. He did take a step back last year. His team was a lot worse. Maybe I shouldn't be knocking him for that at all. And just becoming a pro is tough sometimes. So, if the Bears get out to a 5-7 start, and he's playing up and down football, which, again, could very easily happen to the Chicago Bears and a rookie quarterback, I want to see how he deals with that, and how does the team react to him. Again, I'm not fading Caleb Williams. I hope he becomes a star of stars. But like I've told you before, I'm not loading up on the stock. I am on Jaden Daniels, and it's just dumb. Like, if you give me one of the 6, and I guess if you put odds next to them, because Caleb would be the safest, Jaden would be the second safest. I'm just about him. Like, he seems like he's everything, man. He played the best quarterback play this year. Like, that's what all the scouts will tell you. He was the best quarterback this year, but what Caleb did in previous years, he's been a locked-up number 1 pick for a while now. I know the Commanders, when you talk about cursed franchises, they're up on that list a little bit. Man, his comp from Matt Miller at ESPN is Lamar Jackson. I don't think he's as athletic. He has a really fun running style. It's got a little Mahomes to it. Like, when you see those Mahomes clips and you're like, wait, is Mahomes quick? How did nobody touch him? Like, Jaden Daniels has that, and it's really fun to watch. And he's just he's slippery. He's a slippery runner.
Got that, like, nimbleness to him. Which,
as a rook, that can be huge. That can save your days. That can be a great safety outlet for them. I don't know about the whole Commanders setup, new ownership, new head coach. I'm just in on Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to be that guy. And hey, maybe this is a historic draft class. Maybe we'll look back in a few years and say 4 of these guys hit. Which, again, that doesn't happen a lot or ever, really. What's the Eli, Phillip Rivers, Big Ben? Like, those drafts are famous. Elway and Marino, 83. We're talking about basically two famous drafts over 40 years. So maybe this is it. Drake Maye to the Pats. No clue. There's my expert analysis. The Patriots situation right now feels bad. I know they drafted a couple wide receivers, but I don't know. People are saying that the Bears situation looks like a historically good place to land with the 3 wide receivers, including Odunze in the first round. The Patriots, I can't tell if my New York blinders are kicked in, but that franchise has felt off since Brady left. Sorry, Bill. He's gone too now. No Brady, no Bill. Whoever you like more in that party, they're gone. And it seems like Kraft is a little more involved, which is a classic, old owner who's been successful. Kraft gets credit, but it's very much... Brady, I think, is 60%. Belichick is 40%, depending how you want to move those percentages. And then the line at the end is and you know what? Kraft's a good owner. I guess we'll find out. And maybe it's more tied to Drake Maye and their new head coach. But I don't know. Again, when you're playing the QB percentages games, if this was a pie chart of who's going to be successful, I don't know a lot of people that are hammering the Drake Maye.
As their favorite of
kind of nuts
3.
with the 3 pick. You'd like to think, we saw what CJ Stroud did last year as the second QB off the board. And Bryce Young, wasn't as much of a lock as any of these guys, I don't think. Maybe over Drake Maye. I think if Drake Maye and Bryce Young went toe-to-toe, I think people would lean Bryce Young. And he had one of the worst rookie years ever. So, again, it's a lot situation and where you land. But speaking of situation and where you land, a historic pick, Michael Penix Jr. to Atlanta. Everyone was wondering if he was going to go in the first round. Is he going to go in the second round? He goes 8th overall. He is the 4th quarterback off the board. It seemed like everyone was falling in love with McCarthy. I'll get to him in a second. Atlanta drafts Penix, and it's just pure shock. They signed Kirk Cousins this offseason, 4-year deal, ton of money, like $180 million or something. QB numbers.
The first 2 years, like, fully guaranteed.
QB numbers are getting to a special place, and good. I mean, they're really good at what they do at a certain point.
Proven they're worth it.
Why not? A state of shock for Falcons fans and football fans that just had them, either taking a lineman and helping Kirk out or getting another skill player or bulk up the defense. They take Michael Penix Jr., who I do love. Everyone keeps saying he's the best football thrower in this draft, which is funny that, I don't know, that's QB 4 to 6, depending where you had him ranked. And last year, the best thrower of the football was C.J. Stroud. So, hey, maybe they've got it figured out. The devil's advocate of, can this pick be good? I've heard people like McShay say, this is ballsy, obviously. And again, that's still the optimistic way to list it. Because if this does pay off in 2 or 3 years, if we're talking about Michael Penix as a quality starting quarterback, the Falcons would look like geniuses. They would bring in Kirk Cousins, and they'd probably get, quality years out of him. We'll see what that looks like. He is coming off injury. He's up there in age. You have a built-in insurance policy. Aaron Rodgers went down week 1, and their season was over.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, crazier things have happened in football. Let's say Penix is the guy, which I loved Penix during our college football times. I told you how much. I retweeted my own tweet this weekend that someone was going to take him in the first round because he was so good. Like, they would light it up. Washington football games were must watch.
And, like, just anything you hear about the kind of guy he is, like, perfect. Like, NFL team loves that for their quarterback.
If you didn't know about his previous injuries, and I don't want to say failure at Indiana, but it's mostly related to injuries. And age is always a little bit of a factor here. And he is the older QB, which makes this a little better fodder. Because if they had drafted, like, the whole thing when Sam Darnold got drafted, I think he was like 21 still or something stupid. Like, if that was happening, I think more people would be on the, like, I like this. They're trying to set something up. Like, this will see.
Learn while you're young.
Penix turns 24 in a week. So if he's going to sit for 2 years, now you're talking 26. If it's 27, like, I don't know. It just starts to get into a crazy area with quarterbacks. And one of the theories that I've also heard about playing quarterback, which maybe this is kind of dumb, but when you just get out of the rhythm with it and you're not playing, it gets really hard. Like, look at Deshaun Watson. Like, did he just get bad at football? Is all the other stuff in his head? I don't know. I'm not the guy to analyze him on any of that. The devil's advocate positive spin was if the Falcons got this right, they just set up their franchise for a long time, and they'll look like geniuses. The other side of it, which I do think is the right side, is, man, you just went out and got Kirk Cousins. You're a franchise that always hasn't been respected in recent years. I mean, going back to the 28-3 and what you guys have been rolling out at QB the past couple years. I don't know, man. I just hope you're not looking back and saying, what would our offense look like with Rome Odunze, who was the next pick? The other thing that's lying over their heads is a lot of people liked McCarthy better. Some people liked Bo Nix better. So if those guys grabbed a better quarterback later than you, and maybe a slightly more of a project, I don't know, man. I bet Kirk really would have liked to have a lineman or a wide receiver or the D end or whatever it is, and they didn't get that. And basically, if any of those guys hit, which some of them will, and Michael Penix isn't like a star quarterback in a couple years, it's just egg on the face of Atlanta.
It's an unfortunate standard, but it's like he kind of has to be so good for it to be like, okay, this was right. Like, even if he's just like fine, I don't know if they'll be getting praised for the idea there.
Right. And it's the two things that were flying around this weekend. I saw Orlovsky the next day. He was like, I slept on it, which probably was code for they want him to take the other side on first take. Maybe I'm wrong, Dan. You're a proud Connecticut guy like myself. Ready to talk about it. But, they were pointing, Jordan Love sat behind Rodgers. Look how good he's been. Patrick Holmes sat behind Alex Smith for a year, blah, blah, blah. Hey, maybe that school of thought is back, and it's the Falcons are geniuses. I don't know, and I'm a Penix guy. And either way, I think the value at 8 kind of isn't it.
If they were 18, and it's like, well, he fell this far. He's specifically a guy who people didn't know if he'd be first round for sure anyway. So that's probably a bad example. But if we're talking McCarthy or something and later and all that, and then the whole thing is bizarre. I know the night of, I think their GM and decision makers of that were talking about how, like, well, we don't plan to be this high in the draft again anytime soon, which nobody does.
Smart.
And if that's what you're thinking about, getting a talent like that, sure. But then the flip side is like, well, then you could have gotten your pick of any defensive player. You could have gotten the best XYZ in the draft and had help for this year.
Has a team ever said we plan on being high in the draft next year?
I think when they say it, they get yelled at.
You're not supposed to say that. Hey, if he's great, they're geniuses. The percent chances on that are kind of low, but maybe they are. J.J. McCarthy was a stock I was selling a little bit. My point is kind of the opposite. Everyone has their QB theories. No one's really great at it. For me, on that Michigan offense, I don't want to say he was the weak spot on the field, but they almost tried to not use him. I love where he landed. For people that have been listening to this show for a while, hey, thank you. Subscribe, all that stuff. You guys are the best. You guys remember a couple years ago I said, shoot, I think I have to learn the Vikings head coach's name because he was tall, handsome, and he was coaching the Vikings really well. Kevin O'Connell, I believe in him as a head coach. They have Justin Jefferson, a couple other assets on offense. If you remember, he made Josh Dobbs pretty good. For a couple weeks there. Couple other QBs who have put together days for him. I think Nick Mullins. The situation matters so much. Justin Jefferson feels like a guy that even if you're a mediocre quarterback, like you can pencil in a 50% completion percentage. That guy's a sick puppy. That I love where he landed. Which leads me to my last one. Bo Nix goes to my Broncos. I was being kind of snotty around the office. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Bo Nix believer. I've heard a couple interviews. I've obviously watched him play a chunk. I hope I'm wrong. Like when you're putting these 6 QBs in the mix, if you had to again do three yeses and 2 nos, my 3 yeses would be Caleb, Jaden, and J.J. McCarthy. Which again, it's like the fair way to break this down. You can't just sit here and tell me all 6 are going to be good. Sean Payton. Nobody believes in Sean Payton more than Sean Payton. And he thinks that he can turn this guy into Drew Brees. And maybe he's right. And maybe we'll be sitting here saying Sean Payton is a genius in a couple months. I'm a little scared of his surroundings in Denver. I'm a little scared that Sean Payton does believe in Sean Payton a little too much. I will say this. Bo Nix completion percentage set the NCAA single season record, 77.4%. He gets the ball out quickly. That's what Sean Payton likes to do. It's part of why Drew Brees was really good. But as we've done this chicken and the egg with QBs and coaches get a chunk of the credit, but normally a lot of it is because the quarterback's pretty good. I think Drew Brees was pretty damn good. Might have played during the wrong era because everyone points at Brady. Even Rodgers gets more love than Drew Brees, but what Drew Brees did year in, year out is like arguably top 5 quarterback stuff. We can save that for a rainy day. No thank you for right now. Hey, if Sean Payton is that guy and they nailed it, God, is he going to peacock so hard. And I'll love it. Looking for some good Broncos QB play and some good Broncos football. Hopefully he's the guy. You need a QB in the AFC West. It would have been really tough to go this year if they didn't have a quarterback. So I guess in a way, content-wise, to watch my Broncos, I'll be a little more excited. But yeah, a historic quarterback draft. We, as America in football, are most attracted to the QB. There's a few teams out there that had great drafts. I love what the Eagles do. It just feels like they're the value team, and they got a couple cornerbacks that were incredible value. Ricky Pearsall from Florida, circle that one for San Francisco. He was one of the most popular guys during the post-draft process, and he goes to the San Francisco 49ers. Like, have you not seen what they've done with Debo and Ayuk, McCaffrey, and Kittle? Like, Pearsall, man. No reason to not believe in that. And yeah, my draft parting shots, because Mel Kiper did his grades. And a reminder, Mel Kiper's the best. If he wasn't doing NFL draft stuff, what would Mel Kiper be doing? Comment below whatever you think the guess is, because I don't know. Like I said, I liked what the Eagles did. I think they're really good at value. They traded so much. It was the most trade since 2000. I need some NFL draft trade rules because the trading's actually becoming like nauseating to watch. Tracking on your phone or just watching live, it's a lot. A sneaky one that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, the Steelers. They went lineman, Roman Wilson, who was the wide receiver from Michigan that just like got open. All 3 of those feel very Pittsburgh. They drafted another lineman later, too. That feels like a Pittsburgh draft. I love team identity. The Wake and Jake Bakers community has heard me literally become a team identity guy while it's happening. I liked Washington because I'm all in on Jaden Daniels and circle Ben Sinnott. He's, if you remember him, he's out of K-State. Wore an ugly number, but he has all the tight end qualities. But he was just wearing like a fullback's number that you're like, that doesn't look right. In on that. Is there anything I'm out on? No. Chiefs took the wide receiver Worthy out of Texas that can fly. Let's see how fun that gets. That could be one of those. Why did we let those guys get that player picks? But again, it's also the situation. He was a guy that I think a lot of people would be looking at and being like, I don't know, speed only. Although he does a little more than that. But the fact that he lands with Mahomes, like, what do you think Mahomes is going to tap into if that kid is anything? The draft is one of my favorite things ever. And my final asterisk I want to put out there, the Chicago Bears, I know it's not fair because they used their picks from this year to get Montez Sweat, Keenan Allen. There is a chance. Let's say they were wrong. Let's say Caleb's not the guy. That their draft of Caleb Odunze, and then their next 2 picks are a tackle from Yale, which no shots fired at Yale, but not known for its powerhouse O-line factory. And then they took a punter out of Iowa, which, hey, Iowa punted the ball a damn lot. And that kid knows what he's doing. There is a chance that you could look back at the Bears, and this was the football guys were like, is Pace their GM a genius, or has he gotten lucky? There's a chance that draft class could look straight up bizarre. Obviously, it all rides on Caleb. Mm-hmm. But if Caleb's not the guy, and like Odunze's good, not great.
He's just like a quality wideout.
And then it's a 3rd-round tackle and a punter. I don't know. That's not fair. Montez Sweat came over. He already looks great. It's one of those things on paper could end up looking funny in a few years.
This will be a weird-looking graphic if Caleb's not good. Odunze's just all right, and like you only had however many picks, and you used one on a punter. When you're, on a year you're short on picks.
4th round. Beebs, I think to close off, the New York Rangers are the best team ever. And the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson has his playoff moment game. He was awesome. The signature shot from that one is him going right across the lane, working Embiid for all 24 seconds of the shot clock. Ball bounces on the rim a couple times and drops. Embiid is a nightmare in multiple ways. He is losing a lot of fans. And Brunson's the exact opposite. I mean, he feels like he's breaking the game a little bit with how, like, speed him up, slow him down, the little movements that gets him free just enough. Knicks will have a chance to clinch it in the Garden. That's going to be exciting.
If they pull it off, I believe that'd be the first playoff series they've clinched at home since 1999. My brother was not alive.
The Knicks history, we don't have time for that right now. The Suns are straight up out of the playoffs, swept by the T-Wolves. Anthony Edwards is climbing my all-time favorite athletes every day. It's been said before, and this isn't to be clickbait. We won't clip this, so it's not. He's got a little MJ in him, man. And I think some actual physical comparisons have been made, but the way he plays and the intensity and the anger, to sweep the Suns, I don't know. The T-Wolves, NBA teams need to take their lumps. The T-Wolves are about to play the Denver Nuggets, and that is going to be must-watch late night. I'm probably going to be losing some sleep over it. Games, and I can't wait. I cannot wait. The size of the Timberwolves, they're matched up, right? I think it's...
Believe so.
If I got that wrong, that'd be atrocious. Everyone kind of doubted the T-Wolves. Gobert kind of became hated just from his Jazz days, being French, and then the COVID times.
He invented COVID, so.
Karl Anthony Towns, everyone was like, he's good, but he's not that good, right? To see them go up against the Nuggies, that's going to be a real treat. The Bucks are falling apart in front of our eyes. The Bucks and the Suns, man. Giannis, Dame, and Middleton. The Suns, KD, Booker, and Beal. Looks like it's a wrap on that. I know the Bucks are banged up.
They haven't had Giannis at all, and I think they lost Lillard for the last game.
They switching coaches midseason, and it was Doc, and everyone was tough on that. Milwaukee, both of those teams are going to have an interesting offseason coming up. Hey, maybe Milwaukee salvages it. They're down 3-1. Doesn't seem like it, though. And the Suns are out. Clippers, Mavs is tied up at 2 apiece. And you hear the excitement in my voice. That feels like a Game 7 is coming. And, man, the characters on the court that'll be in those deciding games. James Harden, you've already drawn up your opinions on him. Paul George, playoff P. He's actually redeemed that a little bit recently. But what those guys are playing for, we'll see if Kawhi gets back in the mix. And then on the other side of the court, Kyrie and Luka. I think Luka has another level to him, which is very rude because he is a top 3 player in the league right now. I do think there's more in there that there's a little bit of me that's rooting for the first round upset. Just because I think that would help get him to the next level. And sometimes that's how life works a little bit. Thunder go for the sweep. Oh, Nuggets have to beat the Lakers tonight.
3-1.
So maybe I got ahead of my skis there. And I don't know. We're still in the sports apocalypse. Every night you can put on the TV. If you don't watch hockey, go watch a playoff hockey game. You'll enjoy it. It's a good time. The basketball has been great. The baseball has been great. You have been great. I think we have a special ep coming for the Wednesday ep. Maybe some foolish and maybe some jolly. Make sure you guys are subscribed. And Wake and Jake is a production of Dan Patrick Productions, John Boy Media, and Workhouse Media. We will see you guys Wednesday.